Hi guys, it's Fluffytail Zombie here. Now that 2018 is ending, I decided to do something that I wanted to do for a while, a storytime video. This year I've done lots of things I haven't done before, so why not to do one more thing like that? Plus I have a drawing idea to go with the video. The drawing I'm drawing in the background is related to the storytime, and the character in it is loosely based on myself. The drawing is also related to a comic I made this year. The broken glass effect you see a bit later in the video is something I made for the comic and decided to save it for later for any future art projects. The comic I'm talking about is my final school project I did before graduating from my graphic design school. By the way, I did graduate on this December, on the 20th. When I started to think what to do for my final project, I decided to do a comic. First I thought I'd make the comic about one of my many story ideas, but the length of the stories didn't fit the short deadline I had. My next idea was to make a comic about myself, like a biographic comic, but I wasn't sure should I do it or not. But my school work at the time kinda did the deciding for me. At the time, which was December of 2017, I was really stressed and anxious and dealt with lots of self-hate because of school. I was polishing my portfolio to look super good so I could get 2 on-the-job learning places for 2018. All the stress made me remember things that have happened to me for the last 3 years after graduating from the upper secondary school, which is kind of a Finland's version of American high school. So I thought, why not? Maybe talking about this aloud in art form could help me deal with this stress and hopefully make me feel better about myself, because my self-confidence hasn't been good for like ever, and it's just have gotten worse and worse over the years. At first I thought I was really selfish person for making the comic about myself, and thoughts like this kept haunting me while I was working on the comic. But a bit later these thoughts became a character in the comic, a antagonist like ghost being that only I could see, and it would tell me how bad person I was and constantly put me down. For example, like, oh my god, you're such a attention whore, you shouldn't do this and this and this, etc, etc. Anyway, back to the topic. This is why I had difficulty start working on the comic. When my summer vacation was about to end and the deadline of November 2019 started getting closer, I got the motivation boost I needed. This was both a good and a bad thing. After summer, my second on-the-job learning started. Both it and working on the comic for 4 to 10 hours a day, depending on was it a weekday or the weekend, ended up killing my wrists, and I had a burnout because of that. And I also made other mistakes while working on my comic. For example, I didn't write proper scripts and I didn't show them to anyone other than my mom, which I should have done. Pro tip: always show your scripts to more than one before it's done and you're about to start working on the comic, or before it's gonna be printed. This is why I freaked out when my teacher asked to see my comic before printing it. Luckily for me, she really liked it and she didn't ask me to make big changes for it. Only the covers and the final page needed to be redrawn, which wasn't a big deal at the end. After fixing and printing, there was only two things left to do in this big project: a written report and a verbal presentation for teachers and other graphic design students. The first and the worst of those two was writing the report, and that stressed me out a lot. Because I'm dyslexic, I've begun despising writing even though I want to do it. I read slowly and my brain just loves mixing up letters, which makes writing a nightmare. Especially if two words have like only one letter change, and even though I know what the change is, my brain just decides like, nope, I don't understand this. After days of writing, I finished the report and it was over 4,700 words long. When I was done writing, I started crying. But I didn't cry because I was sad. I cried because I was happy. You see, when I finished writing, I was so proud of myself, and I realized that I wanted to write more and more. I don't remember when was the last time I wanted to write or I was actually proud of myself. It was so wonderful, and that feeling continued when it was the time for the verbal presentation. My teachers and schoolmates liked the comic, and lots of them wanted to read it. I'm not 100% happy with my comic, and there's a lot I'd like to change, but I'm still happy how it turned out. It's a wonderful feeling when people really like and appreciate your work you put on a big project that you've been unsure about for a long time. If you ever want to do something big, just do it. Taking risks is scary as hell, and you may not like the end result, but you will gain something valuable from it. Like on my graduation day, I got a stipend for my comic. You may not get a physical reward, but you will get a mental reward, and it's the better one of those. Like, I learned lots about making a comic, and now I know what to keep in mind next time I'm starting a comic project. I'm planning to start a webcomic next year, probably at the end of the year, depending on how long writing it is gonna take. And I'm also planning to translate my school final project comic in English and post it on internet. I hope your year is ending on a positive note, and remember to enjoy your self-hateless days. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!